What the heck is this list? Which boomer at the Game Awards made this? What about all the recent anime fighters? Do they just not count for some reason? Where the hell is Sifu, the best fighting game of all time? That's a joke. Sifu's not a fighting game, but still got nominated at the Game Awards. So yeah, they just never understood fighting games, and today I wanted to rant about that. Well, I'm being critical, but also ranting a little bit. We're gonna keep it civil, keep it classy, but yeah, I'm gonna raise my voice a bit. I spoke about this a bit in my last video, but after watching Maximilian Dude cover this topic, goated channel by the way, I realized more stuff needs to be mentioned on this topic that I forgot to talk about. So that's why I'm making a sequel today. If you want the Game Awards to not suck and actually understand fighting games, please leave a like down below on today's video. Let's stand together as fighting game lovers and send a message by getting 2,000 likes on today's video. Maybe if this video does well and fighting game channels in general rant enough about this topic, the Game Awards will be better in the future. We can only hope. Alright, then for anyone new to my channel, I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, so let's do it together. If you like what you see, smash that red button and ring that bell so you never miss any future content. And alright everyone, without any further ado, let's begin. Okay, so I wanted to start by talking about the nominees. If you want to skip that, here's the timestamp, but I want to begin by discussing why all of these games are a terrible choice except for one. And that one game is Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, because it's actually a new fighting game from the ground up. It's not a remaster or a collection or in a beta state like 2XKO. No. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is an actually brand new fighting game, and from what I've heard, it's really fun. I myself got a copy for free. I played it a little bit and thought, yeah, it's fun, but also there's a lot to it. Sure, the art style is a bit dated, looks like a PS3 game, but hey, it's still fun, and the guest characters are weird, but I kinda love it because King of Fighters always had weird characters. Real quick everyone, I wanted to shout out something cool. Gamersubs has a new waifu cup along with merch and all that incredible stuff. Look at your screen right now. Browser Trouble. Do you love her? The new waifu cup character. She looks adorable and she wants you to buy her. But guess what? She's free. That's right. With the purchase of any Gamersubs tub, you get the waifu cup for free. So that's pretty awesome. She's free and you get some Gamersubs flavors at the same time. How amazing is that? Use my link down below and get your purchase on right now, okay? I get you 10% off, and every purchase you make with my link down below helps support the channel. Or if you prefer, use code UNDERDOG at checkout. That also works, but honestly, the link makes things easier, in my opinion. Gamersubs does a great job supporting channels like myself, right? The gaming channel, so do me a favor and check out their website today. Alright, and back to the video. Like mentioned earlier, Fatal Fury is the only game that belongs at the Game Awards, because while 2XKO is also a new fighting game, it's not officially out yet. It's in a closed beta state, otherwise known as a soft release. So pretty much anyone who wanted access to this game did the research on how to sign up and get the early access codes, and now they're playing it. And the beta is never gonna end. Instead, it's gonna keep adding stuff to the game until eventually it does release. And at that point, everyone's gonna be able to play the game, unlock the characters, all that stuff. The roster is way too tiny, and 2 or 3 characters have to be unlocked. Yeah, which means grinding, or I think you can even spend real world money to unlock them faster. The game is free to play, so that's nothing unusual. I don't personally like that, but maybe that's just me. The game overall is very fun. I like 2XKO. It's definitely got tons of depth to it. I think casuals are gonna dislike the game after a short bit, because while it does have auto combos and other beginner friendly mechanics like that, overall the game has so much depth and pro players will stomp you into the dirt with this game. Then again, that's got nothing to do with the nomination of Fighting Game of the Year, right? Doesn't really matter. I'm trying to give a fast overview of my experience with these games while I talk about them. Hopefully that's okay. Next up is Capcom Fighting Collection 2. This is not a fighting game, not a new fighting game at least. It's a collection, so it shouldn't even be eligible in my personal opinion. And the same goes for Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. These games are decades old, right? They're old games. They should not be eligible for Fighting Game of the Year in 2025, because by definition, that does not make any sense. These are not new fighting games, they're just collections of older fighting games that came out recently, which in my opinion is not a new game technically, right? These games should not be eligible. There are fighting games that came out this year and last year that make more sense for this nomination list. For example, the anime fighting games. Listen, if Smash Bros counts as a fighting game, then so do the anime fighters, the arena fighters, those still count. The Bleach fighting game, the Hunter x Hunter fighting game, yeah, that game's terrible. I understand it was awful, terrible online, did not function well. Even the combo trials don't make much sense, but still, it's a fighting game. It's a new fighting game and deserves to be on this list more than a collection of fighting games from decades ago. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm I'm making sense here, right? Logically, this is sound and holds true, I think. And even though I don't like the idea of every game on this list being an anime fighter, it feels more legit than the current list that we're actually getting, right? Most of these games are not actually new fighting games. They're collections or they're betas or they're remasters. There's one game on this list that's actually a new fighting game. So that's a great point I didn't even consider until watching Maximilian Dude's video. I forgot about the Hunter x Hunter fighting game fiasco. That game had a terrible release. Apparently it's one of the worst things ever released. Alright, the final game to mention on this list is Virtual Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. So this is just Virtual Fighter 5, but now you can play as the boss and there's more gameplay features and mechanics, all that stuff. For example, a replay mode and other stuff like that. That is neat, don't get me wrong, but it's not a new fighting game. Virtual Fighter 5 has been out for years already. It should not be eligible. The idea that remasters and re-releases count for the awards does not make sense because that means in theory a game could win multiple times if it gets re-released. So for example, imagine if Last of Us won Game of the Year for Best Narrative or something, then the remaster comes out and wins again years later. That to me is not fair. The same game should not be winning multiple awards in the same category. That makes no sense to me. So this list on screen sets a bad precedent in my opinion because now remasters and re-releases are eligible to compete in the Game Awards. That's stupid. Listen though, real quick, I understand that these are supposed to be recent games, alright? That's the whole point of the Game Awards. They're supposed to be from this year or maybe last year. I think preferably it's the same year, right? But fighting games take a long time to make. This is not Call of Duty where they recycle the same thing over and over again but in a different skin suit. No. Fighting games tend to be very different. They look entirely different, they play a lot different, the roster is very different, at least most of the time. Tekken 8, in my opinion, is guilty of the roster being way too similar to Tekken 7, along with the moveset and gameplay. They added new mechanics and stuff, to be fair, although most fans hate those new mechanics, but still it's new in that regard. My point is, Tekken 8 did a bad job with the roster, it kind of fumbled. It's a bad example for the point I'm trying to make right now, but every other fighting game sequel tends to have a very different roster, the gameplay tends to be very different and innovative in a big way, there's a brand new story mode, all that stuff, it's very, very different. So as a result, I don't think the Game Awards should expect it to be a brand new fighting game when they nominate Best Fighting Game, right? Because that's just unrealistic to expect, especially for the big fighting games. Street Fighter tends to stick around for many years, right? Street Fighter 6 is going to be going for like 4 more years probably. And the same is true for Tekken 8. It's probably going to keep going for the next 3 years or so. Yes, Mortal Kombat games, or rather NetherRealm games, get a new release every 2 or 3 years, but that's very rare. That is not the standard for fighting games. Which is why, once again, if the Game Awards wants to have fighting games as a genre, right, they want to include them in their contest, then the rules have to change. It can't be a brand new fighting game because typically fighting games don't release that often. There's a big gap in between sequels. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? I sure hope so. Yeah, I think that's the real issue, right? The Game Awards in essence is in contrast with how fighting games work and just the genre in general, along with the community. We're not used to getting games every year or 2 years, nor do we expect it, honestly. I loved Call of Duty growing up, listen, but apparently Black Ops 7 came out recently, or something crazy. Did I miss 4 through 6? I don't recall there being a Black Ops 4, 5, and 6. Did those actually happen? Man, how quickly are these games being crapped out? No disrespect if you love Call of Duty, alright? You can love what you love. If you enjoy those games, fine, but how are they spitting them out so quickly? I don't want fighting games to do that, man. That would suck. I much prefer when the games stick around for 3 to 5 years and give us a huge roster of characters. They keep evolving the gameplay, balancing the roster. That's how fighting games are meant to be. So yeah, it's kind of hard to put them in a Game Awards show unless you extend the rules for them specifically, right? Make them the exception and allow older games to compete. Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, which we know is not gonna win, but still, all of these games should be included because they're the big ones, right? When people think fighting games, that's the 3 that pop into their head. Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I don't care if you're a Mortal Kombat hater, you still must admit that it's the most popular fighting game unless you count Smash Bros, who's technically number 1, right? I keep forgetting to include them because for the longest time Smash Bros was not a fighting game. It wasn't even allowed at EVO, and the one year it was, people were like, what? This game should not be at EVO. There was like uproar. It was hilarious. In my opinion, I think that Smash Bros counts, along with For Honor. I would consider For Honor a fighting game too, at least the 1v1 mode. Anyways, I digress, getting a bit off topic here. I think that for the Game Awards to do fighting games correctly, they have to expand the window to be several years, right? At least 2, preferably 3. That way all the big fighting games, the most popular ones, have a chance to compete. That just makes the most sense to me. Or if they don't want to do that, include the obscure fighting games, like the anime fighters, the arena fighters, right? All of those still count, throw them in. Not Sifu, because it's not multiplayer, right? That's a beat 'em up, it's not a fighting game, you uncultured swine. Fighting games are human versus human, right? You play against each other, not against the computer. That's not a fighting game, in my opinion. opinion. And I think pretty much everyone watching would agree. So yeah, either expand the window or include way more games that also qualify as fighting games. There's the Bleach fighting game, the Demon Slayer fighting game, and also, real quick thought, a lot of these fighting games are still getting content, so why are they not eligible, right? The remasters and collections count for some reason, but not fighting games that are still getting more content, that are still very much alive. Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, they're all still getting DLC. I think they should be eligible for nomination, I'm just saying. Mortal Kombat 1 is not. There's no more characters coming, that's WB's fault. I do think NetherRealm wanted to add a Combat Pack 3, but WB said, nope, 2 years, we're moving on. Okay everyone, I don't want this video to be too long-winded. It mainly exists for me to get all the thoughts and topics covered that I missed out in my previous video, so thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Let's try and get 2,000 likes on today's video to fix the Game Awards and make them better in the future for fighting games specifically. As the community, if we get loud and stand up, kick our feet and cry and rant, we can actually change stuff, alright? It's happened before. So yeah, down in the comments, let me know how you feel about the Game Awards and these lists. What do you think is the solution to make it more accurate to what fighting games actually want to see in the Game Awards? Like I say in all my videos, I love reading each and every comment, so grab that keyboard and make your voices heard. Then for anyone new, finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.